Alright, what's up everybody? Today we are going to talk bracing. I'm Travis Bogard here at Above the Rest Training Systems in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Before we do get into bracing though, be sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss anything coming out of Above the Rest Training Systems. Alright, first off, we want to talk about what is the brace. Why do we brace? So in most exercises that we do, especially the ones we do here at Above the Rest Training Systems, we are almost always figuring out some way to take weight and separate it from the floor, right? We're picking up heavy weights, but to do so, our body has to utilize the stability of the floor and then use that to manipulate the weight, either with the weight sitting on my upper back or somehow in my hands, right? So in order to do so, the stability of the floor, that force has to radiate and generate through the body to the implement. And so what we're doing by bracing is we are solidifying everything between the floor and the implement to make sure that we stay safe, secure, and we can produce as much force as possible. The next reason that we are bracing is to keep ourselves safe, right? Up here in the upper part of the torso, we have a ton of bone structure and a ton of muscle mass to keep us from collapsing and breaking, right? But down here, south of the rib cage, our lumbar is sitting down there in space all by itself in the sea of meat, right? So what we're trying to do is protect that lumbar by solidifying that sea of meat as best we can, so that instead of one skinny stick in that sea of meat, we actually have one big solid stick right here between my hips and my shoulders that we can use to send force. So we know why we brace, we know what the purpose is, but how to actually go about it. So to start, what we want when we brace is we want that secure, but we want it secured in a position that's going to allow us to create as much force as possible, right? So where I'm going to start is I'm going to start by setting my pelvis, the base of my spine, right, in that neutral position by squeezing my glutes. When my glutes are contracted all the way, my pelvis has to be neutral, right? So I'm going to start by squeezing the glutes first. From there, I'm going to take my rib cage and I'm actually going to try to kind of tack it to the back of my spine here. So I'm going to try to shift it back. And when you do so, you should feel the abdominal region start to kind of light up and activate. So I'm going to take my rib cage and I'm going to shift it back into position. And from right there, my spine is forming that nice neutral curve. I'm right where I want to be. So with that said, from there, I'm going to keep my abs tight. Try, if I can, to push this all out from all directions. We want full circumferential, right, all the way around the circumference of my body, the outside of the circle, circumferential expansion, so that I can be tight and feel that tightness all the way around, right? I'm going to accomplish that by really bearing into my abs hard, and I'm going to do my best from here on out to keep the distance between the top of my pelvis and my belt line and the bottom of my rib cage the same, no matter what it is that I'm doing. So this is the braced position, and we're going to try to keep it no matter what it is our system is doing, right? So if you're having trouble feeling that ab tightness, we have a quick drill for you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feel myself breathe all my air out. Hiss out that last little bit and feel that contraction, right? Feel that contraction in the abs. And then from there, I wanna take my air and breathe it in behind that ab wall, as if it's a big can of compressed air in there. I'm gonna pack that air in, into that can of compressed air, and that's where it's gonna live. Breathing out with a short breath, in with a tight breath. Now, this isn't optimal breathing. This isn't the way that we're gonna breathe just walking around, sitting at the desk. But if we're under heavy loads and we're trying to maintain a brace for something like a yoke walk or a bad carry, we want to keep that brace tight, but we want to be able to breathe. This pelvis, so glutes, ribs for the tap, abs tight, air out, and then tight can of compressed air concept is going to let us take in air and let us output air while under heavy loads doing athletic things. Combining the bracing principles we talked about here with the rooting principles of another video, you're going to be prepared for big, heavy loaded movement, right? We root ourselves in, we get our brace, now we're ready for squats, we're ready for deadlifts, and you'll want to make sure that you have this brace for all things, including overhead presses, rows, all of those other athletic movements that we don't necessarily think about bracing hard for, but when we do brace and we do organize ourselves well, glutes, ribs, abs, and everything, we enable the body to produce as much force as it's capable of. So that's the end of this video, guys. Remember, I'm Travis Bogard here at Above the Rest Training Systems. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You're not gonna wanna miss anything coming out of Above the Rest Training Systems.